everyone guaranteed the free exercise of religion. Here in Virginia, for the first time in 1776, Virginia has the freedom for religion. So we're finished. No. No, ladies and gentlemen, the end of government is equal rights protected under equal laws. We have in this moment declared that all men should enjoy this free exercise of religion. The dilemma that exists is we still have a stack of antiquated laws dictating how one religion should be favored over another. We see immediately a system that aspires to be something equipped with the mechanisms of their own destruction. So here and now, we get to decide what this government will be. A true model of the rights of human nature, or immediately an impostor. You know, a system of government begins to die almost as soon as it is constituted. Which brings us to where we are now, here within this tavern, a prime place to conduct any business of government. You see, yesterday evening, a scheme was launched betwixt myself and none other than the primary author of our American Declaration of Independence. Yes, if you can believe it, Thomas Jefferson. Now, from that, a scheme was launched yesterday evening. We gathered together at his lodging over our first bottle of wine. We determined what was needed, which was a bill, a code codifying forever the forbidding of any state-sponsored religion and the freedom for religion and unshackling of the human mind. Over our second bottle of wine, we determined how we would do it. We would gather an enlightened populace here within this tavern. You are enlightened, yes? Yes. Well, at least we've done one out of two. And from the course of that, would deliberate in open debate the arguments for such a bill. Over our third bottle of wine, we determined who we would summon to sponsor this bill. And none other than George Mason, the primary author of the Virginia Declaration of Rights. Over our fourth bottle of wine, we determined how we would do it, with appeals to ethics, pathos, logos, etc. Over our final bottle of wine. Well, he was speaking Anglo-Saxon and I was speaking Greek. So, gentlemen, ladies, you see the traffic into which you have found yourselves conspicuous players in. Over the course of this, we may yet, here and now, on this sacred foundation, have the opportunity for a system of laws that stands in conjunction with our system of rights. And what role do you have to play in this curious theater? Well, it is this. This system of government is in your hands. To that end, we will conjure you for your own questions, your own thoughts, your own passionate arguments, because, make no mistake, friends, there will come a time that we will tire of talking and will depend upon you. So with that, can I depend upon you for this action? Yes. Very good. With your help and perhaps some intercession from divine providence, we may yet see success in this and stir Colonel Mason to action. Mr. Jefferson, sir, I'm very pleased you've arrived. I have gathered the populace. All that is left now is to wait for Colonel Mason.
Very good, sir. Bonjour, pleasure, James Madison. It is often said that an army moves upon its stomach and statesmen move upon alcohol. I have brought more.
Oh, I must wonder, sir, what was the fare at the tavern not enough that you needed to supply your own personal bottle of wine?
Well, I must wonder, sir, that after 5 bottles of wine, why we set this meeting so early in the day.
It's 1:30 early for you, Mr. J.
After 5 bottles, yes, indeed.
Now, with that said, Thomas, will you join me? I suspect Colonel Mason is likely making his way here. With the time we do have in private and 200 of our closest friends, I must wonder if we might review the plan, because at this moment, the plan we made last night is somewhat foggy.
Yes, as I recall, we were to attack Mr. Mason on 2 fronts. I was to take the first charge of arousing him, speaking of common law, the law in general, speaking of secundum subjectum materia, and then you were to turn out and...
Yes, I was to speak of experience, the necessity of the bill, etc. And yet,
very good.
Thomas, in more sober revision, I must wonder if we might, re-invert this plan. If I might provide the opening documents. For this reason, the law, Thomas, while necessary and significant to our argument, can be a sour thing to distill. Colonel Mason, while necessary for our argument, can be sourer. To that end, I must wonder if I might temper him, cater him in the flow of the argument, direct his sails to the proper current, to prepare him for your argument. On that front, having given that opening brief, might we move to the main docket of the law? Think you this, sir, an appropriate amendment to our plan?
Well, perhaps now, in more sober reasoning, I find your current plan to be far superior, yes.
What a wonder what a man can do when he is sober.
Now, it should be said that though you and I attack Mr. Mason on two separate fronts, that you and I ever remain united. Never a moment of dissonance between us.
No, Thomas, I suspect nowhere over the next 45 minutes should you or I have a difference of opinion. Well, sir, I will say I was not entirely optimistic when I arrived here today, and I will say, having reviewed the plan so clearly, I see no way in which it can go awry.
With you and I at the helm, James, what can go wrong? Now, where are the glasses?
What?
The glasses. The items in which you pour Madeira so that you may enjoy Madeira.
I'm familiar with the definition of glasses, Thomas, thank you. But it was not my prerogative to bring them.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't?
James, I asked you to set the table.
Yes, Thomas. I set the table.
Generally, it is implied, Mr. Madison, that when one inquires as to whether one may set the table, that one applies the accoutrement to the table, so that when the fare is later applied to the table, one may enjoy the fare with the aforementioned accoutrement.
Mr. Jefferson, it is my opinion that in matters societal as well as matters governmental, there is great danger when one relies upon that which is implied. But make no mistake, sir, like the ghost of Hamlet's father, Colonel Mason comes. We will...
improvise, sir.
Improvise, sir. Good day to you, Colonel Mason. Ladies and gentlemen, George Mason.
Gentlemen, it is a welcome change. It seems as though anyone who ever calls upon me is not doing so for social purposes. Those who wish to interact with me find me either sour in company or useful to their own political ends. I welcome a social calling. Too often, when I'm called to a tavern by politicians, they rely upon alcohol to do their lion's share of the work. I'm happy that we may converse upon more social matters. Are you going to move, or am I going to be forced to stand here all day?
Oh, no, not at all. We are pleased, all of us, that you accepted our invitation, Colonel Mason. And we'll confess that while this visit is indeed a social one, our purpose...
That was here when we arrived.
The townkeeper was pushing. Sir, as to the reasoning as we did summon you here, it is, well, in many instances, a social one. One could argue the most social purpose that could be conjured, that, of course, pertaining to the people, derived by liberty. This was primarily by your hands. I sit betwixt two colossal authors of our age, and yet, Colonel Mason, Mr. Jefferson and I have been speaking at length as to what is next. What is necessary? We all sit upon the Committee for Religion. We have heard the arguments of men like Carter Braxton, Robert Carter Nicholas, who wish to see the continuance of state-sponsored religion. And yet there is a dissonance that exists betwixt these gentlemen and the people of Virginia at large. Daily, we see petitions from Baptists, Presbyterians, from Quakers, all wondering whether this new freedom for religion shall be a true freedom or a toleration in counterfeit. We believe at this singular moment, before our government deteriorates, now is the moment to stand for that sacred liberty we say by nature ought be everyone's. What we wish to see, Colonel Mason, is quite simply a harmless, small, insignificant bill that breaks the ties between government and religion. Now, that being said, we debated as to who might sponsor it. I, sir, am too unknown within the legislature to put forward such a bill. Mr. Jefferson is too known in the legislature to put forward such a bill. You, Colonel Mason, you, the author of that Declaration of Rights, are a gentleman famed for a disinterested mind. We know you have championed causes of religion in the past, and we believe, sir, at this singular moment, you are the person to put forth such a bill. We believe at this singular moment that the The voices of Virginia beg for one singular person, a singular champion who, with a great yes for liberty, might answer the call to secure it. And with that, sir, in one word, give us your answer.
No. Simply put, gentlemen, this debate has already been had and you've already lost. The Pendletons, the Carters, the Braxtons of the world do not wish. We are at war at present. We have already launched ourselves here into an unknown future. There are those who still cling to their church, who wish to see it continue as it always has in times of war, uncertainty, and bloodshed. More than ever do people cling to their church. Moreover, we see at present there are those who perhaps may call for such an idea of words against the established church. However, there are not nearly as many as those who wish to see a continuation. There are churchmen throughout this government. Simply put, gentlemen, your attempt to disestablish the church has been seen as an attack. It is far too radical for many of these men. So in that way, I'm afraid there is little that I may do. Now, having met that less than sociable call, we may put government to rest, that we may speak upon any other matter, a topic of any choosing I welcome, whether it be that of our family, of fashion, of our farms, anything. I beg you, Mr. Jefferson, a better topic than that of government.
How about the law?
Oh, goodness, no.
Every man wishes to speak of the law, yes? Yes. The law which governs mankind, and yet where does all our law sit at this moment? You are familiar with secundum subjectum materiam, yes?
I am.
And you, dear friends, having read Latin, are familiar with secundum subjectum materiam, yes? Yes. Of course you are.
Hey.
You're just saying yes, you have no idea. We existed not so long ago as Britons, free-born, proud Britons. And yet our common law, that is various people's various systems of law, amalgamated into one, as the name suggests, common law, was not entirely lex scripta, was not entirely writ down as Hammurabi. There exists then a danger, you understand, with law not being writ. You can imagine it, can you not? The danger is secundum subjectum materiam. That the law not being entirely writ down, not being entirely lex scripta, may be interpreted differently throughout the ages, throughout different legislative sessions, throughout different generations. Your Declaration of Rights, sir, beautiful as it is, needs a wonderful retouch-up. But it is beautiful. It is nearly perfect, sir. Specifically, your Article 16, wherein you state that men have the ability to practice his or her religion without fear or force of government. Yes? Yeah. And yet your Declaration of Rights sits unguarded, unprotected. It is a babe in the wilderness. What Mr. Madison and I are proposing is to protect your Declaration of Rights, specifically Article 16. To protect against secundum subjectum materiam. I thank you, sir. So, sir, now understanding the danger that your declaration is in, and what Mr. Madison and I propose to do to guard your declaration, fully understanding now, I suspect that you might give us one sentence in affirmation.
You've wasted your time. Gentlemen, it becomes clear why you truly called me here, not for a social call, not for my company. You only wish to leverage my position as chairman of this committee upon religion. I say that you have wasted your time, as I have already stated. Gentlemen, the men have spoken. They have voted you down time and again. You speak of these different denominations, and we see just as many illiberal and bigoted denominations clawing for attention, clawing for more prescribers. There are those who would see the loss of an established church, that Virginia would falter betwixt immorality and a dangerous, bigoted denomination. For this reason, this is a bridge too far. What you propose to do to make such a change would require a great hero of an age, an Ajax and an Achilles, but I am afraid I am neither of those things, gentlemen. I'm tired. My mind returns to my home, to my children. You know well that my wife passed some 3 years ago. My mind returns to Gunston Hall. Away from the capital city, I'm here in but body only. And with that, seeing the true cause for your calling me here, I suppose I shall bid you good day.
I Sir, our condolences as to the loss of your wife.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Nothing in
Jefferson.
life is permanent.
Excuse me?
If I might speak for my worthy friend. Yes, what the worthy gentleman means by this, in every instance, is that your wife's loss is tragic, but in fact has been to the benefit of all of Virginia.
Oh,
sir.
is that so, Mr.
Nay.
Madison?
What Mr. Madison is attempting to say is that you now no longer being bound to the great weight of marriage might be
And
more
with that
free
good
to
day,
be at the same time.
Colonel Mason, please! We beg your pardon, sir. We are not eloquent men. It's simply that our intent is to say that your loss is tragic, unconceivable. But in fact, it has put you here, in this moment. A place where Virginia and its posterity needs you. We do not need an Ajax. The world does not need another Achilles, but perhaps it does need a Mason in this moment. We ask you, sir, to look to where your eyes are. Where are the Braxtons? Where are the Nicholases? Where are the Pendletons? Those who want the same status quo. They are on yesterday, on a Virginia that is daily leaving them behind. We ask, sir, that your eyes are on tomorrow. The sons and daughters of Virginian Baptists, the sons and daughters of any who should be oppressed by a majority of citizens. Think, sir, of your own children. Do you not wish them, sir, to live in a better...
Mr. Madison, it is a dangerous gamble to wager another man's children in the game of politics. That being said, in this instance, it was a worthy hand to play. I serve not for recognition. Ambition holds no charms in me. I do this because if I'm able to see a free government and liberty and but a crust of bread that I may leave to my children, I may die a happy man. I find myself here not for myself, but for my posterity. You seem to lose yourselves there upon that last article concerning religion. Instead, I shall direct your attention to the second article, which declares that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people. Quite right. I shall not stay by my own accord. I shall not stay due to your wishes. I shall leave it to those here gathered. If they wish for me to stay, I shall do so. If they should allow me, Mr. Jefferson, Mr. Madison, you fret too much.
I beg your pardon, sir. I'm an anxious creature. I fret about everything. I also say we live in Virginia, sir. What is a rising sun by morning will be clouds by afternoon. It is my sentiment, sir, if we examine human history, any sentiment that a declaration of rights is enough without law to back it is mistaken. Any confidence in its guardianship over the rights of human nature is naive. A declaration of rights without law to back it, sir, is not more than a parchment barrier. It will inevitably fall and tear asunder.
Sir, I apologize. A Declaration of Rights is not a parchment barrier. A Declaration of Rights provides certain fences against wrong, and we have Mr. George Mason to thank for our Declaration of Rights in Virginia, do we not? Declaration of Rights is what every people on the entire globe should be entitled to, regardless of the soil that's beneath their feet, or the flag that flies above their head. Now turn about, sir. This is not the object of this conversation.
No. No.
I'm sorry.
Thomas, I will not, and Colonel Mason, I cannot. I am good for very few things, gentlemen. The consultation of history is one of them. The Ten Commandments came from God, yes? Yes. God, by his own will, is perfect, yes? Yes. And we can agree man is imperfect, yes? Yes. And so has this perfect document transcended from a perfect being stopped an imperfect man from killing? No. Has it stopped them from stealing? No. Has it stopped them from coveting that which is not theirs? No. So if this perfect document from a perfect being has not stopped an imperfect man, what makes you think any perfect, imperfect document will? Over the course of this, gentlemen, I beg your pardon, but what have we seen is the greatest evil in government? It is not only power, it is human nature itself. Over the course of that, we have crafted a system of government whereby our government can be checked, and yet we turn a blind eye to the people at large. They must, as they have the new power in government, remain equally checked. Or inevitably, that which should falter are the rights of the minority. We've seen it in Virginia, the various prejudice that has justified these notions. Persecutions of the Baptist, persecutions of the disenfranchised. We see, gentlemen, here in this enlightened age, the mere distinction of color made justification for the most oppressive dominion of man over man. Why? Because of opinion. Now, in that respect, it will not be a declaration of rights or opinion that shall check opinion, but rather ambition that will check ambition. What is necessary in this moment is some degree of sanction or coercion, because make no mistake, without it, gentlemen, it will be a sanction of blood. Words without action, gentlemen, are simply words.
Hear, hear. Those words are well put, Mr. Madison. Finely put indeed. And I apologize for what I said earlier. I thought you were speaking ill against a Declaration of Rights.
I would never speak ill of a Declaration of Rights, Thomas. I know how much you like them.
And thank you for turning us our conversation back to its original point.
You're welcome.
Religion. Religion indeed. The question of the hour. What is government's role in religion? I say that there is no place for government between a man and his creator. None. Yes? Yes. The Baptists applaud, you see. We sit in a great time of religious toleration, you know. Toleration, it sounds beautiful, does it not? Yeah. It's a lie, but it sounds awfully nice. Religious toleration, which is what we have in Virginia, means quite simply that your government will tolerate your religion until they do not. Yeah. What we seek, Mr. Mason, what we seek is true freedom for religion, not toleration. They sit polemically opposed. True freedom for religion, for every religion to practice his or her particular ecclesiastical opinions upon a creator or creators or lack of a creator. I do not believe that your government should have any place between you and your creator. I do not believe that any God, that our creator is so weak as to need a government to prop him up. And I care not what your religion is. I care not. It matters not to me, I say, whether my neighbor believes in one God or 20. It neither steals money from my pocket nor breaks my leg. It is simply an opinion. And yet, sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, there will be one man on this globe killing another because of a difference of opinion. By God, isn't mankind ready for something new, something better? This is what we are proposing, friends. It might sound radical to allow the Baptists to practice as they will, or the Catholics. I know. But we are radical, and we must push forth into something new. This country is founded upon principles, not upon blood right or divine right, but principles of equality, of justice, this idea that what you grant to one, you must grant to all. It is now in your self-interest to protect your neighbor's rights. Because if you do not, if you allow the destruction of your neighbor's rights, then what does that mean for your own? 2 words. You're next. We wish to protect the entire flock, sir. Everyone. There is no place for government to dictate ecclesiastical matters. None. We need not seek an Ajax because we have a Mason. Can I tell you something my father used to tell me?
I have a feeling if I said no, you would anyways.
I'm an attorney, sir.
Too well aware.
My father used to tell me, Thomas, a man of commerce may force his art upon me, and I might prosper from it. A doctor of medicine may force medicine down my very throat, and I might gain health from it. But no man can force upon me his religion and expect me to find salvation from it. Faith is not faith without believing.
I have then one question for you, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes.
What shall you do when once again you are voted down? What shall you do when these men, churchmen, and vestrymen of government once again tell you no?
we shall cram it down their throats.
There you have it, gentlemen. Our disagreement. I say that you have wasted your time, and you have. You come speaking to me of liberty, and yet you speak of coercion. You lecture me upon the necessity of freedom, and yet speak of force. Your eyes are only upon the ends within this matter. It has lately been observed that North America is the last great nursery of freedmen left upon the face of this earth. We must strive to merit the greatest encomium that has ever been bestowed upon any people. We have here an opportunity, and every step we take sets precedent. You see only where you wish to go, not how you're getting there. Yes, we are part of society. We gave up some of our rights, the same as our neighbors, and by that mutual agreement, we secured all of our other rights. But man gave up no more than was necessary for those expressed purposes. We must recognize that the most arbitrary, the most tyrannical, the most despotic governments upon the face of the earth to this very day, those superstructures laid their claws from that wolf. How long may a wolf survive without its teeth and claws, Mr. Jefferson?
Is that rhetorical?
Yes, it is. It is this consideration. This is the beginning of the journey. You cannot take all of it. Use your passion. Use your words. Turn them to the people. For once, the people of Virginia in their entirety clamor for a disestablishment of the church. You will not have to lift a pen. It matters not what a Pendleton or a Braxton may say when the will of the people call for it. It will not require coercion. It will not require force. It will not require a precedent that shall be used dangerously in our future, but instead, it will be the vox populi, the voice of the people. Mr. Jefferson, no journey is complete with its first steps. This is but a beginning.
I hope you are right. I will confess to you, sir, this compromise is worthy to be. Mr. Jefferson, you are correct. We are all planters. Where do harvests begin? With seeds. I should, sir, render whatever talents I can to the success of this bill. So too will Mr. Jefferson. Right, Thomas?
Happy.
And with that said, sir, I will apologize for bringing you here under such counterfeit purposes, but must wonder now that we have accomplished this business of cabal, if we might, well, try again upon these grounds. I have taken the liberty of renting a private club room in the back, whereby we might take this poor soldier and speak of something outside of politics. Now, I will tell you, sir, we don't have glasses.
But we might do, what is it you say you're part of the Piedmont in Orange County? We might grab the goose by the neck.
Thomas, that's a foul phrase.
But if you do not join us, you will egret it.
Gentlemen, quit your grousing.
These are cardinal sins we are creating.
Spare me your puns. Gentlemen, I thank you for this kind offer. I must be honest, I assumed your intentions from the beginning. I came regardless. I wished to see what your method was. If we are to succeed upon this endeavor, it shall require more than but a few of these conversations. Resolve, wit, intellect, and the like. Moreover, I should hope that I shall be able to join you alongside of this fight, not as fellow servants of the people of our respective counties, but instead, perhaps as friends from this day forward. With that consideration, I thank you for this kind offering of a bit of a drink. You have no need to worry yourself about glasses. I have some in my lodging house, and I thank you